Time to talk some shit with the J Squared Podcast. Here we go.
Got anything you want to say?
Yes, this is the J Squared Podcast coming to you.
It's so hard to forget the mics are here.
I think it's actually pretty easy if we were just talking to ourselves like this. What's our first topic? What are we doing?
I don't know, man. Whatever comes to mind, whatever we're thinking.
I guess. I think naturally, if we just, like if we were on the phone talking, what would we talking? We'd talk
Wouldn't
about
be a fucking microphone in front of my face. I'll tell you that.
That's true. You know what it is? It's
knowing that people are going to hear it.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. You know that people are going to hear this, and that's like almost like a camera in your face.
That's exactly what it feels like, which is weird, dude, because I'd probably be super camera shy. Imagine being on camera live. Like, I can't even handle this. Microphone that I control when it comes out, if it comes out, and it's still fucking with me.
Oh, I've had major stage fright before. I was in a lead role in a play like when I was a kid, and I totally
That's
froze.
super live.
That, and I was on national TV in Oklahoma.
You bombed those buildings?
She's like, so how do you feel about the power outage? I'm like,
just Captain?
Yeah. So
yeah, good thing we can edit all this out, dude.
I know. So we can literally talk, and there could be dead airspace and whatever. We can
be
edit.
a fun way, man.
What's that? Well, I was actually gonna look for topic.
Topics. If
Who
we just need
makes those? Are we allowed to use those?
Like I said, I'm not worried about being allowed to do anything until we're big enough for somebody to care.
And we are big enough.
True. Couple things, man. I wrote down some shit like
in your Indiana Jones journal there.
Transgenders in sports. There's a couple of
and you go straight for the heavy hitting topics, huh?
Abortion. No. There was just a lot of
evolution versus science.
Is God
religion.
real?
Yeah.
But no, there was I read some articles, and what gets to me is not really the article. Obviously, dude, you can always tell when an article is written that they're leaning one way or the other on the on their opinion of the things. I think the way the article was worded, it was shaming people for thinking that a transgender, this person was born a male and decided that they wanted to be a female. Yeah, and they're dominating this track team.
Yeah.
And the article was written to shame people
into
that thought that was wrong, like that thought she should be competing with boys. Or maybe not that she should be competing with boys, but that person, he,
should
she,
be
whatever
okay.
it's no, that it's I don't think it should be okay.
Right. No, I agree with
right,
you.
that it should be okay. Like she should be able to compete with girls, natural females, which
100% not. No.
First of all, let me tell you something quick. This was a Bleacher Report article, and I commented on this article, and your boy got so fucking famous on Bleacher Report. I had 14,000 likes on my comment in one day. 14,000 people.
Are you serious?
Liked my comment, and over.
Is that a real number?
That's a real number, dude. You can look that shit up.
What did you?
I'm gonna tell you what I commented, but we'll save that. I think either 2,000 or 4,000 people actually commented, and when I tell you, man, 90% of those comments were just so supportive of my comment. Like, damn, well said, man. You win the internet today. We need someone like you in the White House. I joke because I tell my girl, I'm like, hey, Sash, whenever I'm feeling bad about myself, I'm gonna come read all these comments. People fucking love me.
Yeah.
One of them actually said, remember I sent it to you.
But I find it's like either, so like if somebody was reading this article and this whole story, they're either one way or the other. How do you get 14,000 likes with just a comment?
My comment had more likes than the page had
You're
likes.
If you like my comment, I'll come over your house and give you a hand.
My comment,
it
was. I'm gonna try to remember it verbatim, but
I have more likes in my comment than actual comments in the
on
thread.
this page. More than the page has itself.
Than the page has ever had.
Yeah, the page has 9 likes. My comment had 14,000. But it was something along the lines of, really what we need to do is just eliminate gender-specific divisions in sports altogether. And it should just be one competitive group. That's the only way to solve this problem. And then I, had an ellipsis, and then I said that is, unless for some reason you think one gender has an unfair advantage physically over the other one.
Which I think that's scientifically a fact.
Right, but it's almost like it was an obvious. So I kind of, gave him that obvious smart ass backhand, and people were like, "Oh, the meme with the black dude touching his forehead."
Right.
I see what you did there.
So a black dude?
Yeah, it's a black dude. He's not a white dude.
Oh.
But it was cool. It was my 5 minutes of fame. It was fun.
Oh, that's awesome. That's
Thanks.
awesome, because that means obviously that you're speaking something that resonates with a lot of people. I mean, it's not. I comment on shit all the time, and I'm gonna tell you, it's not easy to get something that's that everybody likes.
Yeah. Well, there was some pushback, mainly from idiots that didn't understand the joke, and it went over their head.
Was it a joke or was it serious?
No, it was a joke. Obviously, physically, men are just naturally built to be superior. And I say superior. Superior
built to be superior to women.
Superior. Sorry, ladies, don't kill me on that one. I should find better words to use. I'm not the best spoken human on this earth. But what I mean is, like, physically, I think when it comes to strength and speed, I think men are naturally born, with genetics that allow us to be bigger and stronger and faster on average. I mean, of course, if you put Venus Serena up against me in a tennis match, she's probably going to have a good shot at winning, but,
probably.
Yeah. But again, if you take the average man and the average woman, they're probably going to be stronger. So that's really what it was. I think it's common sense that if you're born a female, I don't think, or I'm sorry, if you're born a male, I don't think you should be able to compete in sports against somebody that's born a female.
Yeah, you have an obvious biological advantage. That's testosterone, larger muscle mass.
See, that's where it gets a little deeper than I
Bigger
understand.
penis.
To me, I just think it's it's common sense. If you just look at the average man, and the average woman, it is what it is.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I too, with everything with that being said, I mean, I think there are obviously women that are better shaped than I'll ever be, and they could kick my ass up and down the street.
But those are very specific,
yeah,
instances. That's not the norm. That's not the average. And I'm not saying again, and I'm trying to be as specific as possible with where I think we have an advantage, which is mainly speed and strength. I'm not saying that women are weak, because I just I've been trying lately to be a little more sensitive to the fact that when you put the entire gender in a category, like men are stronger, it sounds like it's almost saying that men are dominant, men are better,
well, you
more
are
valuable. Well, I'm not though, because and I had to get checked on it the other day, because I try to be careful, especially with kids in the house. I try to be careful about the words that I use, because don't get me wrong, would I call myself a feminist? I don't think so. I think women should be treated fairly and equally. I think for the most part they are. I do think that they're always going to have to deal with obstacles that men just don't have to deal with. I don't walk down the street, I don't walk into a nightclub or a bar worried about being raped. If I'm in a room with a man, thoughts don't go through my head like, wow, if he got really pissed off, I couldn't get out of here. So there are some things women have to worry about that we won't. But I also don't get to just go around and flirt with somebody and get free shit all the time. So it has its pros and cons. I had to catch myself, or I didn't even catch myself. My girlfriend caught me as I was talking to my son about something, and he was kind of acting unsonly, kind of being like a little.
What does unsonly mean?
Unsunly, think about when you have a son as a boy, you're trying to raise a man.
You mean effeminate?
You're trying to raise a man in every sense of the word. You want him to be tough. You want him to keep his chin up. You want him to be okay with expressing his emotions if he needs to, but not overdoing
those societal constructs, though. I mean, does he have to be machismo? Does he have to have?
I think at the end of the day, I try to look at it as
we have friends that are very effeminate.
Worst case scenario, if we were to be in some post-apocalyptic world and we didn't have technology and all these things at our disposal, you would have to protect your wife and your family. And I just need him to know that, and that's in your genetics, man. You should be. You should have to make you need to make those decisions and carry yourself in a way that's always going to allow that. So, and life is just life, man. When you're upset, dude, or when shit happens and things hurt, it's going to be temporary. So it's okay to be upset for a short term, but you got to pick your head back up and keep going. And I used words, something along the lines of you're acting weak. You're acting like a little girl right now. That's just how we grew up, I'm not old.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm not super young either. I'm 29. And I feel like that was normal at coming up. There was nothing wrong with saying that. It was just an everyday thing if you were acting like a girl.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm 10 years older than you, and back in my day, we used to call people fags.
Oh,
I mean,
easy. Even somewhat
today
grown up
that's
too.
unacceptable.
Right. And which makes sense, but so I said that, and then my girl, she had to actually, she checked me, and it doesn't happen often because again, I'm the man of the house, but she was like, hey, like, don't tell him girls are weak. He doesn't need to be thinking like that. Sorry, that's not what I meant. I kind of shrugged it off. But later on, I was in the car with my son, just him and I made it a point to, just say, hey, remember when Dad said you were acting weak like a girl? I was wrong, and girls aren't weak. Like sometimes we might be a little bigger or faster than them, but there's a lot of things that females and girls do that we just really couldn't handle. And I show him his mom. I'm like, dude, they make us in their bellies, dude. They carry us around. I'm like, you don't even like carrying laundry upstairs, kid, for 30 seconds. She had to carry you around, for 9 months, and you weigh more than any laundry bag.
Well, let me ask you this: do you think that it's more? Is it a literal? What's the word I'm looking for?
Metaphor or
not? Well, not. Yeah, that's kind of an oxymoron.
Analogy.
Yeah, I mean, I look at it as like a figure of speech as opposed to. It's not. I don't mean directly because again, the reality is that there are women out there that are just badass and they'll fuck us up. But I mean,
right? Like he's not going to go challenge women to a bench pressing contest saying, "Ha, I'm stronger than you."
The other reality is that generally speaking, males are not more important, are stronger physically than women. I mean, that's just.
I guess that's kind of the conversation that I had with him after was to teach him, like, hey, even though I said this, almost as a learning that even though you say things, sometimes there is a difference in literal speech and figurative speech.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I wanted him to know that, like, I don't think that way. Like, I don't think that just because a girl may cry a little more or whatever the case is that we're better than them.
Right.
And I should probably just use better words than saying, hey, you're acting like a little girl. Because I honestly think if I had a daughter, I would still tell her, like, hey, pick your chin up. Shit's going to happen. Brush off that boo-boo and we keep trucking.
I have an 8-year-old daughter. That's exactly what I do.
I would never want to speak to my sons like, you're acting like a little girl if I had a daughter or my niece was present. Because how are they going to feel about themselves now?
See, I agree with you in this. I agree with that. The sentiment is right. I fully support that in every sense. But how far will you take it? For instance, like my daughter, she's 8 years old. I say things like that. We also say things like, you know what? My daughter Liliana, she cries, and I'm like, you're crying like a baby. Now that would fall in the same.
The only
realm.
difference is the only thing I could see.
Baby's weak.
Well, the only difference is I could see with that is a baby that's a stage in your life which you grow from, and everybody starts as a baby. Right, everybody starts as a baby, so we've all been through that baby stage. Like if you told me, hey, you're acting like a kid again,
I can see that.
I wouldn't be offended, and I don't think kids should be offended. But if I said, hey, like you're acting like a Mexican, or you're acting like an African, you're acting like a Chinese guy right now, that's a little different because you have no control over that. And I'm just trying to be a little more careful with the words I use around the kids. And if I do slip up, try to explain to them, where my head is at and what the truth is. The truth is, you shouldn't go around saying women are weak because they have strengths in different areas that we have.
See, I don't watch what I say when I'm talking to my daughter. I speak exactly how I speak. I kind of rely on the sense.
You make penis jokes around her? Because that's what you do with
150%. No. No, but what I'm saying is that I rely
on... Such a weird thing for me to just ask you right now. Do you make penis jokes with your daughter?
Yes.
Yeah, generally.
No, I rely on the fact that she's going to grow up one day.
Right.
And she's going to... She knows the difference. She's not an idiot. And your sons aren't stupid. And, they're going to know what daddy meant, here, there, blah, 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 blah. Just because one time you say it, hey, don't be a little bitch, or like whatever, like be a little girl, don't cry like a little girl or whatever. They're not going to be like, okay, hey, guys,
the conversation superior. And the apology may have been more geared to some respect towards, my girl.
Misses.
Right. Yeah, exactly. It obviously.
Why, does she get offended like that, or
not typically? No,
I can't imagine she's with you and she gets offended.
No, she's not. She's got pretty thick skin and she's got a good sense of humor, and I think that couldn't get to her because
shout out to Sasha.
Because she's she's a really strong woman, man. I remember when she was pregnant with my first son, we both had 2 jobs, and she had a job where we were working until 3 a.m. And then she would turn around and wake up at 6 a.m. to get to, her second job and doing all this pregnant. That's probably shit that I wouldn't do. I'd say, hey, let's just be homeless. Like, I'm not doing that.
I'd just say, hey, all right, kids are on their own.
Yeah. But, so I don't think, like those stereotypes, I don't, and again, I can't really speak for her, but knowing her the way I do, I would assume that she's above those, stereotypes and being sensitive to it because she knows what kind of person she is. But I do find it humorous that people will get offended when you say things like, oh, you're acting like a girl, you're such a girl, because it's a huge, is it called a double stereotype?
Entendre?
No, not entendre, you idiot. I don't know words like entendre. What's the word, dude? It's like a double standard. Is that a thing?
Double standard?
Double
yeah.
standard? I'm like double negative? No. Yeah, it's a
You're
double
like a
standard
daily
because
double?
if a girl were to be walking around and she was like burping and farting, I feel like many people would be like, oh, you're such a boy, like you're acting like a boy, and boys wouldn't get offended. Whoa, we don't all burp and fart, like that's just it's weird that there are these double standards out there that some people can say and can't say, or you can say about one sex or one race, but if you say it about something else, it's totally everybody's up in arms.
I don't understand why, like, it seems like over the last 10 years, maybe 20, maybe over my lifetime, especially in the 80s. See, something happened in the 80s where, like, things just started, socially, things just started changing. And I don't understand why we're in such a need as a society, not me and you, not, like, just as a society as a whole. Why are we in such a need to change things? Like, if it's not broken, for instance, and I mean, I'm just throwing this topic out there, like the whole using the proper pronouns and blah. Like, why? All these things that
Why?
Yeah, these social constructs, like, okay, boys you like blue and girls like pink, and so what? Like, who sits around and goes, you know what? We need to change this. This ain't even it's not even a social injustice. Who cares what we associate men with and what we associate women with?
I think their concern is that it's more taught than it is like girls just coming out liking, quote unquote pink or dolls. My take on it has always been,
hey, my daughter plays football,
dude, and
I don't even care.
That's
like, whatever.
Really where I'm at, man. Like my son last night was watching YouTube videos on girls putting on makeup. And it's just like,
all right, we need to talk.
But and I was just like, bro, what are you watching? He's like, I don't know. And I was just like, all right, like I was just
kidding. My daughter doesn't play football.
You don't have no gay son, boy. But no, like and I talk to people that you can call it boy stuff or girl stuff. I mean, to me that's fine. But it's like if you have a son that likes to play with Barbie dolls, you don't have a transgender son. You don't have a son that was born in the wrong body. You just have a son that likes to fucking play with dolls. Like
right.
it is what it is.
Right.
There's a word for that. There's like tomboys, like girls that like doing things that are culturally designed for guys to do. It is what it is.
Off and...
We're gonna stop this. So so yeah, I think we kind of touched base on that. It seems like we agree with a lot of shit when it comes to transgenders, and it's tough, man. It's tough.
In all honesty, outside of the extremes, the people that are extreme, those are the fringe populations on topics, on talking points. I don't want to get into huge, political bullshit, but I think everybody wants the same thing. It's just a perception.
Yeah, I think
it's just how they perceive. Like, obviously nobody really wants terrorists coming into the country through Mexico and blah 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 blah. And everybody thinks national security is important. Everybody wishes college was free. All that stuff. It's just a matter of how to do it. And then you got these dumbasses on both sides. These extremes. The fat white lady with colored hair going, oh yeah, black people got it rough. And then you got the redneck hillbilly KK member like, oh, fuck them niggers and all that other shit. So I mean, it's like,
that was Jay. Just so we're clear.
My name's
no,
Josh
it's not.
So
you even tacked on the ER at the end. You got balls, brother. You got balls.
Well, there's a total difference between.
It's the context that you're saying. We're talking about
a subject matter versus,
right. You don't mean any derogatory. Hey, look, we both said derogatory at the same time.
Let's tie dicks.
So I saw this meme the other day on Facebook, and at first I kind of laughed it off, but it's like I kept rereading it, and what it said was, something along the lines of, For Christmas, when you get your kid all this cool shit, tell them that a couple of gifts, like your smaller things, are from Santa, and that the big expensive gifts are from mom and dad, or mom or dad and dad, whatever the case is, whatever household you come up in, but just because it's tough to explain to another little kid, like, hey, why did Santa get you an Xbox? And if that kid's less fortunate, or parents aren't in the same financial position as you are, like, Santa only got me a pair of pants and a shirt.
Because you po.
Naturally, like, my first reaction was to like laugh it off, but I think the more I read it, man, I kind of understand it. Like, I feel like I think a lot differently now that I see my kids growing up, and I have a way that I want them to treat people, and I try to put myself in their shoes and how hard it would be to understand, if we weren't able to bless them as much as we can with cool shit for Christmas, how they feel. If, like, how do you explain to a kid, like, yeah, Santa likes him more than you? I know you asked for an Xbox and he did too, but you only got a yo-yo and he got 2 Xboxes.
Well, that's why I tell my daughter that Santa's not real.
Yeah? Do you really?
I'm serious. I'm not even kidding.
She doesn't believe in Santa?
No.
That's cool.
Well, she probably does, maybe from her mother, but I mean,
wow, that's a big thing to disagree on.
Yeah, I mean, it's huge. It's
But I see.
But if she asks me, and I tell this to her mother too, I'm like, if she asks me if Santa's real, I'm telling her the truth. I'm not lying to my daughter, just so she can believe that some fictional character gave her something. When meanwhile, me and her mother are busting our asses at work. You know what I mean? I want her to respect the fact that even though her mother, and I'm not talking bad about her mother or whatever, but she's
out there fucking hustling.
Yeah, she wants her to believe in Santa.
Until 1 a.m. every night.
But I tell her, look,
making her way to the main stage.
Yeah, yeah, right.
She's out there twerking for dollars, bitch. Respect what I bought you.
Go see Cinnamon.
2 for $35 special.
Yeah, but if my daughter asks me, I tell her. I'm not about to lie to my daughter for the sake of so some fat fictional character can get the credit. Me,
I do both.
Busting my ass. So
some fat fictional father figures out there working. No, I understand that, and I can I can actually respect that, and who knows, maybe that's something that might have a conversation with Sasha. That makes sense, because again, you can't explain it to a kid. They'll never be able to understand why Santa loves somebody else more than them. But I didn't tell them Santa was fake. What I did do is, we kind of just told them, like, hey, most of this shit's from mom and dad. Santa hooked you up with, those candy in your stocking, or that candy in your stocking, or
right.
One of the little simple toys.
I can understand that,
because I get it, but I saw some, they took the path of, well, I bust my ass and I worked hard. If I want my kid to think all this shit's from Santa, blah blah blah. It's like, listen, your kid doesn't give a fuck where the presents come from. If you tell them you got them, they'll be excited. Why not just take that extra step, and if you're gonna let them believe in Santa, hook it up. Let them think that you did the hard work and Santa gave them a good gift. So even if you tell them why Santa doesn't, because Santa doesn't want the other kids that are poor to feel bad, whatever you got to tell them. I just think it's something that, I don't know, man. I'm kind of leaning on the side of empathizing with kids that are poor, because I grew up pretty poor.
Well, you know what? You could also, the other way of doing it, though. I mean, you could also just say, hey, look,
convert to Judaism.
No, yeah, no, no. I mean, saying stuff like, well, you know what? Maybe Tommy or little Timmy, maybe he was extra good. Maybe he did something.
Maybe he's a better kid than you.
Yeah, maybe he's just a
Where are you going with this?
Yes, he's just a better kid than you.
But Dad, he's always getting in trouble at school. He's an asshole.
I don't know. So, like, coming from me, I've never celebrated Christmas my whole life. So
interesting.
Yeah, so I don't even know what that's like. And I'll tell you the God's honest truth. It was traumatizing when you're little, but when you grow up, you learn to respect sort of like everything. Just like like when
your parents do.
Yeah,
I think about that all the time.
I'm so glad now. Look, like, because 39 years I've been witnessing people during the Christmas season. They get very stressed out. They turn something that's supposed to be
about love and family,
about something that's good. Let's just say good.
To proving that you care by spending money on somebody.
Yeah, and it turns into something very stressful. Kids are crying, and no, Tommy got more than me, and Jimmy got that, and I'm like, fuck that.
Yeah, it's like, what is it really about? To me, it's about.
I'd rather not partake at all.
See, I like Christmas because I like material shit and I like time off work.
I love Christmas. I love the time of season. I don't like all the stress that comes along with it from other people.
Commercializing it and shit. Like, yeah, you're right. From other people.
Like, even, let's say my girlfriend, she stresses out. I see parents stressing out. I see.
Good way to change the topic there, Bo.
Totally just they look at it like it's a chore.
Yeah, you're like there's an expectation. Like, hey, I have to. I mean, my kid. There's some man. My 9-year-old kid asked for some shit. I looked at my girl and I'm like, we're not getting him that. I'm like, you know what this kid does every day? First of all, we're doing sports, whether it's practice, a game, or tournament for this fucker. 6 days a
This
week.
fucker, that's
Yeah.
good, man.
6 days a week, man.
I
And
whittled
the other time,
a boat.
the little time that we are at home,
out of order.
if you can get him to stop playing Fortnite or watching a Fortnite video for 10 minutes, you are a better dad than me. Because between school and sports, you know, that pretty much takes up a lot of our time. You know, and when we're home, he's playing Fortnite. I'm like, this kid's asking for an iPod, and we got him an iPod last Christmas. He maybe used it 20 days out of the year, but it broke. He's asking for another one. I'm like, we're not getting him that fucking iPod. We'll see what happens. Christmas comes. You know what he asked for? Hey, Dad, can I get V-Bucks, which is like Fortnite currency?
Right.
I'm like, and I
My
look
daughter asked
at
for Roblox.
I text Sasha that 2 days after Christmas, I'm like, hey, you notice he did not talk one time about that podcast, that not podcast, that iPod that he didn't get. She's like, yeah, that's true. I'm like, fucking saved us $200 right there, didn't I?
I mean, that just goes to show that. I mean, first of all, children they don't understand the value of a dollar. They don't.
No, but I'm going back to like that. I was talking about the parents that think they have to check off everything on their kid's list. Don't do it. You know, like know your kid, know what they're gonna play with.
I'm gonna totally say it. Any parent that I've ever seen do that, like they feel like they have to get, is like usually a single mother.
Yeah, almost like they're
they
filling
feel bad.
They're filling some void that their kid might have. You know, and I get that, man. I grew up with a single mom, and I felt that void. Like I was very envious growing up against, or I had a lot of envy towards kids that had both parents, man. I just thought that, like, wow, that's lucky. And for some reason, I feel like subconsciously I correlated being in a single parent home to being poor, which obviously is, like there's some correlation there. You have the income.
Oh, absolutely.
But like anytime I met somebody anytime I met somebody that
it's like having one ball
had that had both parents in the household with them, like, and this is at like a young age, 10, 11, 12, I would assume that they're happier than me. I would assume that they were rich, because if you weren't poor, you were rich. That's how I grew up. If you lived in a single family home, you were rich compared to like how I grew up. Sometimes I feel a little guilty for thinking those things, because now, just being in the real world and seeing what it takes, like we're fortunate to provide I think what I'd like to call a nice stable home for our kids. But just to get what we had when I was growing up. I mean, I have 3 younger brothers, and it was just my mom. My dad passed away, and then there were other dads that were shitheads, but she had to go so hard, just to give us what we had. And it wasn't much, but it was everything to her. Like anytime there was a Christmas list, I remember her buying, like, we were so poor, but like Christmas, I was getting an Xbox, I'd get a computer, I'd get new Jordans.
Shout out to all the mothers that make it happen.
Yeah, and single moms, man, I feel like they get a hell amount of respect, but it's still not enough. Yeah, I'll take some more.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Some of that shit. Thank you, sir. Because I can't even imagine doing it on my own solo like that. It's like, it's hard as fuck with both of us.
Yeah.
Doing it on your own and having 4. Imagine being a mom too with 4 boys. Like when my dick started getting hard, like I didn't talk to her about it. She know, like, if I did it, what the fuck would she say? Like that's got to be a real. Excuse me.
Well, you know what? That brings up a really good point and a whole nother topic of discussion, because I despise. It makes me livid inside when I hear somebody saying, "Oh yeah, my mother had to act like the father and the mother."
Can't. It's not even possible.
You can't do it.
No. I mean, what does that mean? My mother would have to discipline me when I fucked up, but it wasn't the same.
But it's just like, so like right now, my baby's mama and I always have to tell her. Drama. Yeah, exactly. I always have to tell her, like, let me be the father, you be the mother. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no way that you can be both. I don't care if I'm in the picture, out of the picture, whatever, blah, blah, blah.
Right. Like when she comes over here, you're not about to breastfeed her.
Right. Exactly. Well, sometimes I try, but that's just for my own pleasure.
Somebody Google that. Men breastfeeding child. You know what's funny is, it's crazy, we laugh, but if you Googled man breastfeeding child, you would find actual shit right now.
O'Leary.
You would find probably a transgender woman that now has a beard and a penis breastfeeding some kid.
Oh, absolutely, 100%.
Like, we just joked about it. I'm like, wait, don't Google that. There's probably 6 pages of it. What are you doing over there? Ice?
Get some ice. You want some?
Yeah, I'll get some. I don't even have to move. I like that.
But I cannot stand it when somebody says like, yeah, oh, my mother had to be the mother and the father. No, the fuck she didn't. She couldn't be the father. I don't give a fuck what anybody says.
Not possible.
It is not. That's exactly right.
So yeah, and you know what's crazy is growing up, we bounced around a lot of neighborhoods. Never really lived in. I don't
You
remember.
from Rhode Island?
Yeah, born and raised, sir. I don't remember living in one house as a kid for more than like maybe 2 years. You know, and that's all through like high school. I feel like we were always all over the place, whether we were moving for a cheaper rent or getting kicked out, whatever the case is. We just weren't in one place too long. And now
That's
my
why
family
you're
and I,
fucked up.
yeah, there's a lot of reasons, but that's one of them.
Yeah,
Like
I'm
now,
fat
what I
as
see
fuck.
now is what I see is a lot, dude. Is you get these parents, man, that want to do so much for their kids, but like spoil them, dude. And like
Yeah.
not all kids are just well behaved, good kids, you know. Like
No, kids today need ass kickers.
some kids
That's
are
what they
just
need.
pieces. Like, you know, I have friends, man, that will tell me how bad their kid is, and
I got friends that need ass kickers.
he's always acting up in school, you know, and he's always getting in trouble, and he's being disrespectful. But then, you know, every other day they're telling me, oh, we just got him this, we got him that, we're taking him on trips, he's going here, he gets to do this, and it's like,
Yeah, there's definitely got to be a balance.
it's like, listen, man, you know, you can't just be the best friend.
Yeah, see, I'm not like
You know?
that at all. When I have
No,
my
you're
daughter.
just a dad, man. You know,
Yeah.
like you seem like a reasonable dad.
Hey, you gotta be careful today
Parenting advice, dude, is tough. Like nobody wants to hear it.
because there's no manual.
Yeah, there's no manual, and everybody thinks they're doing it right. And you're usually talking about the most important thing somebody does. You know, being a parent to their kid. But
Right.
sometimes I want
It's
to
very
take
personal.
my friend. Yeah, that's the perfect way to say it. It's personal.
So like when you're critiquing somebody,
Yeah.
you're like going
But it's like
straight to their heart.
you want to just say like, listen, you're telling me every day how your kid is such a shithead all the time. Take shit away from him. Like you need to show him consequences. They gotta
Beat his fucking ass.
Yeah, whatever you got to do though, they have to know consequences though. You know, kids just can't like if they continue to act like that, but you continue to treat them and make life just such a wonderful time with them, they're not gonna realize like they're not gonna know any better. They're
Right,
just
they're
always
gonna
gonna
think it's always good.
yeah, like oh, there's no repercussions to my actions. Like who cares?
Yeah, I can just go do whatever the fuck I want. I'm always down for a
I
fight
need you to fix
discussion.
I need you to fix your fucking hat, dude. I can't take you serious right now. Like,
Why?
because you look like one of those fucking feminazis, bro. You got like some weird, like black but kind of gray starting to come in patch under the brim of your hat right now. Like, what is
I
that?
look like Michael Moore.
Yeah, you look like the fucking tail end of a horse, dude. Like, you do look like Michael Moore,
Yeah.
bro. Holy shit. Yes, guy. God damn, what is that?
I don't know. You want to hit this though?
Do I want to hit this? No feds.
Can't be coughing into the mic. You just pull it out and suck.
Interesting. Ooh, that was a little harsh than I expected. That's good. Usually those vape pens you gotta go real hard with. You know, that's good though. Well, I'm already high. I'm hungry. I got the munchies. You got anything? This shit works quick. It's like I'm stupid.
No, but this is actually the fun part.
This is not the fun part. Because this is the part that's gonna get edited out. I'm editing this out. You will never hear this, public. Yo, did you see that video? A buddy of mine shared this video the other day, and it was the kid was probably pretty arrogant. He was, mid-20s kid. He was outside of a government building. He was just recording it, and he obviously did this hoping to get quote unquote harassed by a cop. Yeah, he obviously did it to bait a police officer.
He's a freedom.
And this is becoming a common thing. So what he did was,
This has been going on for years.
He was just out there recording. A police officer took the bait. She came, started asking him questions, and then he was one of those, little cockfuckers that says, "Well, I know the law. This is my right.
Yeah.
This is my right. I don't have to show you ID. Fucking section CO 2719-49B states that I do not have to show you. One of those motherfuckers.
Yeah.
And okay, is he a piece of shit? Yes. However, I've seen a lot of people defending the police officer, saying things like, "Oh, well, you should just show your ID, answer their questions, and everybody will leave. It'll be a day." I like cops, man. I don't have any issues with cops ever. I'm white, but mostly I'm respectful. They fuck with me, whatever. I just give them my license, give them my registration. Let me go on my way, officer. I'm sorry I was speeding, and I don't get tickets often. It's not a bad situation. I do feel that there's a line, that you can't allow the government to cross, and that is if you're standing there and you're not hurting anybody and you're not breaking any laws, and they just start demanding that you answer questions. You shouldn't have to. You shouldn't be subject to that, because if another stranger just came and said, "Hey, give me your license, give me
You're
your
like,
first and last name," like, go fuck your mother, dude. I'm not giving you anything.
Right.
So unless you're like the police officer, unless you're suspected of a crime, even though this dude was a piece of shit making this video and he just wanted attention,
I don't
feel
think
like
that's it at all.
I feel like he was, or whether he was, if he was truly trying to just bring,
I think bring something to
bring,
light.
yeah, bring something to light. Then,
But it has been to light. This has been done over a million times.
you know what? I feel like what happens is the pride gets in the way at that point, and now that police officer is like, no, 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 I asked you for ID, and that now it's a control thing. You know, it's a big needing for control, because she could have easily just said, you know what, you're right. You know your shit. You're not breaking any laws, but please don't cause any trouble. Have a good day.
It turns into ego.
It turns into ego,
authority, and ego. And people have been doing this for years, like these. So, and essentially, what they're doing is, as long as they're on public sidewalks, police cannot. The only time a police officer can identify you is if you're committing a crime, about to commit a crime, or
suspected of committing a crime.
Yeah, or something like that. There's three things: like you either did, you're about to, or you are. And that's the only time that they can identify you. Other than that, you don't have to answer any of their questions. Right. You don't have to do anything.
That's how it should be.
But what pisses me off though is that, see, and you know, I, like you, like, I respect police officers. I'm pro, blue line, the whole nine, whatever, blah blah. We absolutely need a police force, et cetera, et cetera. However, the training on the law for police officers is not up to par. So like when they approach somebody like this that's totally abiding by the law, whatever, blah blah blah.
Especially when he's recording.
Yeah, like,
because he's right, and not only are you gonna like lose this situation, but you're gonna look like a jackass, and now your department is probably gonna be forced to take some, like disciplinary action against you. Like, put your ego aside right there. You know what? Like,
and that's again, when they get the badge, the gun, they think you can do whatever they want.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like a lot of people might go into it for that reason. People that are probably not all cops, because some cops just, they think it's a good job. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Your dad was a cop, your family, whatever the reason you're a cop is. But I feel like there's gotta be some testing, man, like some kind of psychiatric evaluation.
Well, there is a psychiatric.
I know there is, but it's obviously not good enough, because people that, have a history and grew up needing to be control freaks or bullies, like, they just shouldn't be cops, man, because they don't make good cops. Some cops.
Well, I'm gonna tell you this.
They don't make good anything. I shouldn't say, but
that's true.
You shouldn't be anything where you have so much control over another human life.
I said this a long time ago. Just because you have the badge and the gun and the uniform, that doesn't make you a police officer. I think a police officer is a character. There's certain people that are naturally, they just have good. They have like a good judgment. Their discretion's good. Whatever. Those are great police officers. Now, whether they become police officers, that's a whole nother topic. Just because you wear I can't even tell you. I've been in situations when I was an MP where other people that were above me in rank, they're making decisions based, and it dictates my life. And I'm going, wait a minute, hold on a second. I mean, so I had to like run that up the chain, and like I'm not working with this person. There's no, because you're just a fucking idiot, and you're making decisions that
are affecting my life,
that are affecting me, and that's why I said that. Like, just because you wear the uniform, it doesn't make you a good cop, doesn't make you a bad cop, whatever. It's a characteristic. There's certain people that should be cops, and those people are the ones that have good judgment and whatever. And it's hard. How do you pick those people out? And they
tough,
do the
man.
best.
It's a tough job, and they got the job that they have is so fucking crazy. Like where
it is. Imagine having people lie to you 8 hours out of a day,
dude, and just that you could be doing the most routine thing, and if this person that you're questioning or talking to is the most dangerous person you can deal with, you still have to deal with them,
right?
Like, you're the person that's called. No, like, if anything goes wrong, like, you're the one. There's no calling for help. That's a real fucking burden of stress that's got to be on a position, man.
Making quick decisions like that. I mean,
those decisions, because it's. I think that cops sometimes, police officers, they get a bad rap because they do. It's
always negative when you're interacting with them. You're usually breaking the law or something.
Yeah, you're right. I'm starting to see more positive things come to light where they're, playing basketball with neighborhood kids, or, giving somebody a ride or paying for somebody's groceries. I like that people are starting to share those videos,
Yeah.
because it seems like up until very recently, you were only seeing a cop in the news or, on social media if they shot somebody, without warrant. Like they made a mistake, whatever the case is,
Yeah.
it was always negative. And I
That's
do
what sells though.
it is what sells, and that's what gets views. And right now, like, I hear this from people, so I'm not. This is all hearsay,
Yeah.
or how I'm getting this information. I'm not super well versed on it, but it seems like journalism now, it's very different than it used to be, and it's no longer about having the most accurate story, and being trustworthy. It's about being first and getting the most clicks that you possibly can. What sells and what the article says is
two different things.
Police officer, shoots man while apprehended with his hands behind his back and in a chokehold.
Yeah.
And then you watch the video and you're like, fuck, like if I'm that cop, I'm like, there's a good chance this dude could kill me. Yeah. It's like if I don't make a decision now, my family is not going to have me anymore. Like my kids don't have a father, my wife doesn't have a husband. Like if I don't make a move and make a decision here, my life is over. So imagine having the fucking stress of that, dude, and then being wrong.
Well,
like, that's got to be tough to deal with.
Yeah, you got to live with that for the rest of your life. Think about it. If you make a wrong decision, that could cost you your life, and it just doesn't affect you. It affects your kids.
Exactly.
Affects, whatever. So
and I feel like anybody put in that position, whether it's you or a stranger, everybody's gonna pick themselves, man.
Right.
Everybody's gonna pick themselves. It's just
self-preservation.
It's the same reason that they call the passenger seat in the front of a car like the death seat, because if there's ever an accident, the driver instinctually saves his side of the car.
Right.
And you're in the other side. So it's like
puts you in harm's way.
And I just think it's that's in our DNA, man. That's the reason you can't drown yourself. If you just try to go hold your breath underwater till you die, you can't. It's impossible. That's your animalistic will to live. So it's like, hey man, if this guy doesn't die, I'm going to die.
Yeah. That's a tough subject and a tough topic. I mean, because there are fucking idiot cops out there too.
That's the thing.
And
they just make it so much harder for the ones that are doing the right thing, because in that position, it's like being a politician, man. No matter what,
right.
No matter what, so many people are just gonna hate you because of that bad experience they have.
Yeah, well, if you took what is there, 7 billion people? I don't know, whatever that number is.
I think there's 13 in India and then -6 everywhere else.
Yeah, whatever the number is, the population. It's like there's a real small percentage of that population that's actually like intelligent. I'm not talking about educated, meaning like they went to school. I'm talking about just common sense. There's just more fucking idiots than there are smart people. I think so. Like that's going to be reflective in every single kind of group or community or whatever, whether it be politicians, police officers, doctors. Unfortunately, there's some fucking idiot doctors. You know what I'm saying? That are gonna.
That's tough. It's really tough to be an idiot doctor.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
You just got to go through so much schooling.
You can be educated and still. You could have a law degree and be a horrible police officer. You know what I'm saying?
True.
You just don't know. You don't understand the decision making well. Like your cognitive, critical thinking skills just lack.
Yeah, and that is a very different kind of thing.
Right. Like making judgments. You know what I'm saying? You would think that an employer. So if I was an employer, I'd be trying to look at people's character. That would be the purpose of my questioning.
Right.
I don't really care about all the other stuff, like whatever. Right. Like obviously, if you went to school, that says something about you. I don't give a fuck what you know.
But the thing is when you go to school or do so much school or have a list of accomplishments,
that says something about you.
Yeah, the accomplishments themselves aren't really giving you any advantage. But when you run into somebody that says, "Oh, you have a 4-year degree," that means that you most likely have responsibility.
This guy put in work.
Yeah, you have discipline.
Yeah.
You have ambition. Yeah, you're committed. Like there's just a lot of valuable traits that you have to be able to do that.
No, but I know what you're saying. You're saying like,
I'm high as fuck, bro. That ice maker scared the shit out of me. I thought there were fireworks outside, dude. Why is there an ice maker in our studio?
That's right. No, but I totally feel you. Like, yeah.
Good talk, dude. Obviously, you're super prepared for that moment. I agree. I agree. Do you
You douche.
do you watch or have you ever watched House of Cards on Netflix?
No, man. I just watched
Wow,
fucking
dude.
Bird Box. I didn't see the end of Bird Box. I started watching it. It was interesting.
I wasn't
like,
fucking with the hype, dude. It was super hyped. I had to give it a shot, and I wasn't feeling it.
the premise. Like from the very beginning, it catches the
Sets the
watcher's
bar super
attention.
high. It sets the bar super high in the beginning.
Right, like people are fucking killing themselves if they look at this thing, whatever it is, these demons or whatever. I don't even know what it is because I didn't see the end.
No shit, bro. That's why I hated the movie. What is this fucking thing?
Oh,
What are
does it
they
ever tell
seeing?
you?
Spoiler alert. Stop listening if you haven't seen Bird Box and you're going to. 3, 2, 1. Okay. First spoiler alert. Sandra Bullock's titties never come out. Secondly,
Alright,
dude.
fuck that. I'm gonna watch
it's not
House
worth
of
it.
Cards.
So
I want to see Kevin Spacey's titties.
So yeah, dude, it's that entity that if you look at, you kill yourself. And like you said, man, in the first 10 minutes, dude, I was like, whoa, what's going on here? This is
it's
legit.
like heavy. They
set the bar super high. And the movie just never changes.
Just like dies out. I know they're going
Never
down
changes.
the river. She's yelling at them. One falls off.
Oh, they
on a
make
boat.
it. They make it, dude.
I heard they go to like a bird sanctuary. Like, okay.
They go to a bird sanctuary, and they're at the time they're pretty,
Now
from what we saw it ended. Yeah, exactly. They're safe from it.
So
They're safe
where did
from
that
it
thing
for the
go?
time being. It just can't go in the bird sanctuary because it's
can't
inside.
it go in the bird sanctuary?
Because apparently when it's close enough, the birds make enough noise for you to know it's there.
Well, I get that. But
Until it's gone. So you could just, in theory, when the birds go crazy, you could close your eyes and never look.
I heard the book was 100 times better, and
They usually are.
I heard that it wasn't a deaf or a blind school or something like that.
It was a blind school for the blind. It literally
Right,
says on the wall, school for the blind.
In the show, in the movie, or whatever that was. But in the book, I heard that it's actually a community of people that gouge their own eyes out, so they don't ever have to see that thing.
Ooh, I like that a little better than the movie.
Yeah, exactly. And I guess there's a whole section from the book to the movie that they took out.
That makes more sense. That's more realistic.
Sandra Bullock raised those two kids that they didn't put in the movie, but it's in the book. Like, she's like not beating them, but I'm saying when they're doing something bad, she's smacking their hands and wrists so they learn.
That's in the book. That's in the movie. I mean, like she is super like strict. Like old school Chinese, hey, kneel on that rice kind of teacher. Like she doesn't even give them names. She calls them girl and boy.
Right.
And everything is about survival. And she's really like, her boyfriend like tells her like, hey, you're a mom, you gotta nurture them, love them. She's like, no, everything we do is so they can survive. That's it. Right. It's all about fucking, hey, protect yourself at all times. So that part is similar. Like, does she actually hit their hands? Not in the movie, no, but you kind of get the gist of it. Like, they don't play with toys. They can't really, tell stories or anything. It's
all
just
survival tactics.
It's, hey, if this happens, you do this. It's all it is, survival.
So like I fell asleep. So I was like high as fuck. I fell asleep towards they went down the river. One fell off the boat or something. Somehow, even though they're all blindfolded, she found them and saved them. And I thought that was a little extreme. I'm like, all right, my child's dead.
Oh my god, dude, that was so extra. When that's exactly what happened. They're in these rapids, and as they're going through,
to find your kid,
as they're going through the rapids,
yeah.
First of all, I don't know much about rapids, but 5-year-olds probably not surviving no fucking rapids, dude. Like if you can see them, you're not getting
one
them.
Falls off and she finds them,
bro. So they're going down the rapids blindfolded, obviously. And of course, by watching movies like, boat's gonna tip over. Obviously, like, some shit's gonna go wrong, and there's gonna have to be some heroic scene. They're in a movie. So boat flips over, both kids gone.
I would have been like, yes,
bye-bye.
Finally.
Bye-bye. What does she do? She panics, starts yelling, girl, boy. And realistically, dude, the rapids are gonna be loud as shit. You would never even
water in your ears.
You would never hear a 5-year-old going, Mallory. Like,
is that what they were doing? I don't even know.
So they don't even call him out. But so that happens, they find her, it's blah blah blah, I love you guys, whatever. Then they land, near the woods. They hear the birds, now they know where to go. They get there safely. Movie's over. I feel like at this point,
it never tells you what those things are.
It never tells you. It never shows you. And I feel like at the story, to me, it was just.
And then there's those crazy people too.
The story was very.
It could have been a lot better.
Expected. It was just expected. It was very easy to figure out. There's a word that I can't think of right now, but
So where do all those
It
crazy
was
people come in?
predictable. Predictable is the word. It was super predictable by like a half an hour in.
Like those crazy people that they can look at it and not kill themselves.
Yeah, that was never really answered to us.
Like,
you know, I'm assuming that if they do decide to make a
weird.
sequel or anything, they just have some, you know, like actual evil inside of them. You know, they're just bad people. Who knows? Yeah.
I guess so.
Like I said, I didn't think it lived up to the hype, man. I think there are a lot of funny memes about it. I didn't think the movie itself was good. You know, the first thing I said to my girl when we were done is I was like, hey, man, wasn't really feeling that one too much.
I heard about it. I didn't even know there was that much hype about it. Somebody just said, hey, you need to watch. So I said, okay, whatever. I put it on. It like immediately caught my attention. I was like, whoa.
Yeah,
this is like
set the bar super
shit.
high.
Yeah. Started watching. Then I kind of like fell asleep, and then that was it. And then everybody told me it was stupid. And I'm like, man, that had the potential
I feel like,
to be a great movie.
Yeah, and it's interesting that you say people told you stupid because I've seen probably 80% raving about it.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I haven't seen that.
And I've seen myself and maybe 2 or 3 other people that said they didn't like it. I think what happens a lot of times, man, is things get popular and there's momentum behind them, so people want to be a part of that. You know, like, oh yeah, I saw it, I loved it.
Yeah, and once you
so
build
good,
something up so much, then you have an expectation.
Yeah.
So like,
it's like avocados, man. That's how I feel about avocados. They got popular a couple years ago, and now everybody fucking loves avocados. Fuck you and your avocados. I hate them. They taste like mutton, bro. It's just mashed nothingness.
I love avocados, bro. I really do.
I feel like they're a fad, dude. They became
you know
popular, and now all of a sudden everybody
actually
eats
I don't
fucking
love
avocado.
I don't love.
And
avocados.
if you like avocados, fuck you too,
bro. I can hear you. I don't love avocados because they taste good. I love avocados because they taste like fucking nothing, and they're fucking super good for you.
Healthandwealthwithj.com. Anywho,
that's my plug.
Yeah. So my buddy Josh, he went to school with
Tyson
Listen to this. My buddy Josh went to school with this girl who just got a degree from Georgetown. I want to say Georgetown. You know, a school,
yeah, it's a pretty good school.
An actual college that gives out degrees.
It's not CCRI.
And she posted because she was super proud of being the first person to graduate that school with
from Georgetown
with a bachelor's degree in intergalactic diplomacy and intergalactic business relations.
Shut the fuck up.
That is legit her degree.
Wait, hold on a second.
Bro. So I just...
Do you realize what you're implying here?
I think this will make for a great... When we have her on the show, I really want her to clear it up because I have a lot of questions. You know, I think that my ignorance might be making me think that it's a bit silly because I don't understand it.
No, not silly, but...
No, are we talking about... Are we talking about, you know, collaborating with other countries for, you know, space research? Or are we talking about, like...
No,
hey,
intergalactic...
Hey, E.T., what's up with the sequel?
Like, hey, E.T., we need to come up with a peace treaty.
Honestly, that's why. I'm looking at the degree.
There's a lot of shit that if that's real.
Hold on, I'm looking at the degree and thinking it's silly because, like, come on, why do we need diplomacy in space with other galaxies? So my knee-jerk reaction is to poke fun at it and say it's silly, but I really think and I hope that I'm just not understanding really what that degree is for, and I want to have her on the show, so I don't want to make a joke of it.
Yeah, no, obviously we're not. We're just talking and jest and whatever, but we're not making fun of her. But think about what you're saying, though. Like, okay, first of all, we have a hard time with diplomacy internationally on Earth.
On Earth, true.
Think about what I just said.
Round Earth, by the way.
Yes. Now they got this new thing called Donut Earth. But anyway, that's a whole other conversation. Okay, so one, we have a problem with diplomacy here on Earth. Did I just say that? But anyway, and two, what you're saying is that somebody in college is a professor. So, like, there's already previous experience? Or, I mean, like, who's teaching this?
She's the first person ever to graduate with that degree.
I know, but who's teaching her these things?
Those are great questions we should ask her. Can you write that down?
Like, are they fucking aliens? Like, is there, like, Men in Black teaching the course? Who's teaching? Who's...
Tommy Lee Jones shows
yeah, like, what the fuck?
Howdy.
Like, how you get a degree? Like, how do you... I don't even understand that.
Who says whether or not your answers were right?
Yeah.
Should we wrap this up? I'm nodding at him with my, like, come on, guy, eyes.
No,
Wait,
I'm-
what?
I'm-
What
I'm-
eyes do I have? The
Come
come
on,
on guy
guys.
eyes? What the fuck is going on?
Hey, no, seriously though, is that
I hate to do this, man, because we don't have a guest, but I gotta take this.
Oh, go ahead. I can still talk.
Go for it. It's gonna be weird. Ah, your bathroom's small.
I don't think it's because my bathroom's small.
He's like, nah, you're just big.
No, it is tiny. I'm starving. Yo, you piss loud as fuck. Like I can hear that shit. It's probably on the mic right now. Like you're pissing all over your mic. Like you're fucking. The head of your microphone probably smells like dick, dude.
You know, it's been 2 hours.
Has it been?
Mm-hmm. For sure.
All right.
Let's wrap this bitch up.
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, I guess everybody, thanks for listening. This was fun. We'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Later.